Whether you have heard of JSON before or not, today is the day you're finally going to understand it. This is JSON, and by the end of this video you will know exactly what it means, how to read it, and why it's used by literally every app on the internet. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It's a lightweight format for storing and exchanging data. Despite the name, JSON isn't just for JavaScript, because every programming language understands it. It's basically like a universal language that different applications use to talk to each other. Let's look at what JSON actually looks like. First of all, here in VS Code I have an empty folder called JSON, and I will create a new file called data.json. So here is the file created. Now, in order to create JSON, we firstly need to open these curly braces like that, and here we can open those double quotes and let's say name with semicolon here, also double quotes again, and let's say John. Let's give John an age of 25 and also is student, let's say false. So this is JSON. It starts with curly braces and it ends with curly braces. And here we have key value pairs. Here is the key and here is the value. The name is the key and John is the value. Also the same goes for age and this 25. But as you can see, the text we can type it again with those double quotes, while numbers we don't need those double quotes, and also the same goes for booleans. We can say here false and true without the double quotes. The whole thing is wrapped in curly braces, and that's a JSON object. And you might be asking, why not use, for example, single quotes? So let's try that. For example, here in age I will use the single quotes. So as you can see, it doesn't look like JSON, and also is throwing an error. VS Code immediately detects that. So always make sure to use the double quotes. JSON can also store lists using arrays. So let's give John some hobbies and open these square brackets, and here we can type some hobbies for John. Let's say coding, also let's say gaming, and also reading. So now we have given some hobbies to John, but also this is a list and we put that in square brackets. So that's how we store arrays with JSON. Now let's look at the array of objects example. So here in this JSON code I will write again users, and inside these users I will put an array of objects. So for example, on the first object here I will type name, let's say John, and give it an age of let's say 25. And here I can put another object in this array, let's say again name, and here for example let's say Brad, and let's give it an age of 30. So as I said, you can have an array of objects. Here we have an array and we have two objects inside, and this is extremely common with real data. This represents two users, each with their own name and age. You will see a lot of times this kind of structure when working with real data. So why is JSON the standard everywhere? First of all, it's human readable. You can look at it and immediately understand the structure. And secondly, every programming language can parse it easily. Let's see real JSON in action. So here I will type a URL, JSON placeholder .typeicode.com/users/1 and click enter. So as you can see, this is a real API response, and look, it's exactly what we just learned. We can see here the curly braces, key value pairs, and nested data. This is literally what gets sent every time an app fetches data from a server. But I will show you a Google extension that you can use to make this JSON code look better. So let's go to Google Extensions, and here I will search for this JSON Viewer Pro. So let's add that to Chrome, add extension. Right now, if we go here and refresh, as you can see, this code looks way better thanks to this Google extension. We can look in some other ways. For example, we can look at this JSON code as a chart like that. Also like JSON editor. For example, we can write some other things here, and also like a tree. The tree version is the default when you open the page. And as you can see, for example, we can close that and reopen that. We can see an ID of 1 here, a name of Leanne Graham, them. For example, here we have an address that in this case is an object. This object contains the street, city and zip code, and also this object contains this another object inside, as you can see. And that is all about JSON. So let's recap. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation, a universal format for exchanging data. JSON is built from key value pairs, wrapped in curly braces, and when writing arrays in JSON, make sure to use the square brackets. Don't forget that JSON always uses the double quotes. And also it's good to know that JSON is used almost everywhere, in APIs, configuration files, and databases. If you found this useful, make sure to subscribe to ArbiX Academy so we can all learn together.